Lord Huron, the greatest band on planet Earth, has finally dropped their fourth album, Long Lost. I've listened to it a few times now. I've got some thoughts on it. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? My name is Sammy. Thank you for stopping by, and welcome to my review of Lord Huron's album number 4, Long Lost. I have been a fan of this band for quite some time now. They've been my favorite band of all time for as long as I can really remember. Unlike most people who probably got their introduction to Lord Huron from Netflix's 13 Reasons Why, I discovered the band in the series finale of Community when that last episode played and they're playing Ends of the Earth. I heard that song and I was like, dude, this is nice. And the rest is history. I actually saw these guys live in Miami 2019. Me and my best friend went to Miami, saw these guys. I was standing pretty much in the front row. I mean, I could have reached up and touched Ben Schneider's shoe. It was such a surreal experience, so amazing. If I'm smart, I'd be having pictures and stuff playing over this. Everything about this band just speaks to me. I love storytelling. You know, I'm a movie fanatic. I love movies. I love comic books. I mean, as you can probably see, I love storytelling. And Lord Huron has this storytelling element to their music that just takes me away and just whisks me away to whatever setting they're painting in their songs. The band's first album, Lonesome Dreams, was a perfect introduction for me. After I heard Ends of the Earth on Community and I went and listened to the rest of that album, I was instantly hooked. Songs like Time to Run, The Stranger, a bonus track on the album, Setting Sun, which I think was a B-side later added to the album, She Lit a Fire, Ghost on the Shore was my favorite Lord Huron song for a while. I really liked the aura of the band's music. That whole album painted this story of this lone traveler, you know, finally starting his journey into independence and finding love and happiness. It was just amazing for me. Their second album, Strange Trails, won me. If Lonesome Dreams established my love for the band, Strange Trails cemented it. I thought Strange Trails was a huge improvement over an already incredible debut. Songs like La Belle Fleur Sauvage, which I've definitely screwed up that pronunciation, The Night We Met, Frozen Pines, The Yawning. I could list every single song on there as one of my favorites. I mean, you could make a case to me that any given Lord Huron song is your favorite, and I'll agree with you. It's really hard to pick a favorite song from these guys. Moving on from that album, the first two were still, while you know, stylistically somewhat different, they were still kind of similar, somewhat thematically, somewhat sonically. And then their album number 3, Vie Noire, was a departure from what they had done in the past. It was much more dreamy and, I mean, like, for lack of a better word, vibey. I'm trying to think of something, but dreamy is really what comes to mind. I mean, that intro song, Lost in Time and Space, with its synths and harps and like, it just takes you away to this place you've just never been to before. I mean, that's what each of those albums do. And so, naturally, I mean, when I heard about Long Lost, I was hooked. And like I said, each of their 3 albums tell some kind of story. You know, if album number 1 was about starting your journey and finding love and happiness, album number 2 felt more like a direct sequel to that, if you will, where the speaker has matured and is dealing a lot with themes of death and losing love. And so the lead single on that, Fool for Love, a really catchy tune, dealt with that. But death is brought up a lot in that album. And album number 3, to me, seemed like almost like this apocalyptic, like coming of age album where the speaker kind of comes to terms, or not comes to terms, where the speaker accepts loneliness. Like by the end of the album, he's just kind of accepted his loneliness. I could keep going on, but this video is not about their first 3 albums. This video is about Long Lost. Now, the lead up to Long Lost was quite a long one, actually. Before the album was even announced, before any songs even dropped, the band revealed this thing they were doing, Alive from Whispering Pines, where they would take some of their older songs, Ends of the Earth, Meet Me in the Woods, Secret of Life, a few more, and they would kind of like remix them, which is really they would just perform the songs like a little differently. At that point, there was no, there was no like teaser tracks for Long Lost. The Long Lost wasn't a thing yet. There was just a Live from Whispering Pines, and the band kind of painted this story of this like lone traveler and this dreamy, like atmospheric talk show radio host. They were painting the setting, and I knew something was, I knew something was brewing. So, A Live from Whispering Pines carried on for a while, where about every week they would drop a new song, which, again, is just one of their older songs remixed. And towards the end, they finally dropped a new song, Not Dead Yet, which was to be the very first single from Long Lost. That was my first taste of Lord Huron in years, because it was our first new song in years. Immediately fell in love. The singles that came afterwards, Mine Forever, the title track Long Lost, and a duet called I Lied, were all incredible as well, and kind of really hyped me up for this album, because this is their longest album yet, at about 16 songs, I believe. Some of those are interludes, yes, which we're going to touch on later, but this is definitely their most ambitious and conceptual album to date, I would say. I mean, you look at the album cover, Ben Schneider right there has got a blurred out face. You go and look at all the music videos for all of the singles from this album, and they all feature a singer with a blurred out face. The album is really about finding your identity amidst complete loneliness, and it feels like a natural progression from Vide Noir, where Vide Noir was about kind of realizing, oh, I'm alone. Long Lost is about accepting and embracing, that notion. And like I said, conceptual, ambitious, there's recurring themes to this album. In fact, fun fact, if you have Apple Music and you go to this album and you let the album, you just stay on the album screen, the cover will turn into a GIF of, the cloud, whatever, the blurred face, it'll start to move, and it's like a little GIF of him playing the guitar. Just a flex, bro. I mean, come on. Amazing. The album is a very kind of like neo-noir Western style, with songs like, Drops in the Lake, Meet Me in the City, Love Me Like You Used To, feeling that they could be in any kind of like cowboy movie, any kind of, noir crime movie. I really enjoy the progression, the sonic variation. I mentioned the album has interludes. This is Lord Huron's first real use of interludes in their music. And the song, continuing on from A Live from Whispering Pines, does kind of tell the story of this lone traveler appearing on some kind of radio station, with the interlude tracks being the host speaking, saying things like, oh, what are you going to sing for us tonight? Like, oh, listen to this next guy, come in and sing. It really paints this atmosphere that wasn't as present on their previous albums. In comparison, this one really encompasses some kind of cinematic narrative. I mean, with those use of interludes, not many bands use interludes to the fullest extent that they could, and I think this album nails the use of interludes. I love it. When I first saw all those interludes, I was like, I mean, is that really going to be necessary? But it was. I mean, it was. So aside from the singles here, I mean, we have some really standout tracks all across the board. Like I said, the duet, I Lied, that was a single, but still, is really their first feature or collaboration with anyone. The woman who's featured in the song, her first name's Allison. I'm gonna butcher her last name, so there, it's on the screen for you. I really like the way these two singers harmonize together in the song. I really like the song's progression. I like the song that comes before it, which just adds to the song. It's an interlude, and it's the speaker saying like, oh, when you hear these two sing together, it just makes you feel something. That's what I mean. The interludes really add to the songs that come afterwards. The song Drops in a Lake was one of the first real standouts to me, sounding like it could be off of Vide Noir. Really like its noir vibe. Really like its moody, dramatic, like drippy atmosphere. This album is definitely a lot more moody than the previous ones. There's really not as many energetic songs on here, and I'm here for it. Love Me Like You Used To is one of the easy standouts on this album for me. I guess that would actually be one of the few more cheery songs on here. Some of the songs that aren't interludes are still a bit like shorter, just about a minute long. The intro, The Moon Doesn't Mind, just like over a minute. Perfect way to open the album. Really ambitious, really conceptual, and I really think that Ben Schneider and co have perfected this storytelling to their music. It really does feel like you're just along for this ride. I mean, the closing track, I consider the closing track on this album to be What Do It Mean? And Time's Blur, which I'll touch on, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Time's Blur just feels like this limbo, this state of like limbo between the end of the album and the beginning again when it loops around. By the end of that song, you know, you hear this audience cheering in the background, and the radio host is like, oh, may you live until you die. It feels like a complete story. 20 Long Years is perhaps my favorite song on this album, and you could make a case to me that it's the best Lord Huron song ever. It's quickly becoming one of my favorite Lord Huron songs of all time. I really, really love this song. Lyrically, it resonates with me. I mean, there's not many bands' music that can really make me sit and just think and contemplate and really, really feel something. And 20 Long Years ticks all the boxes for me. It really, it makes me feel things that really no other band could make me feel, honestly. The closing track, Time's Blur, which I'm playing over this entire review, if future Sammy did his job right. Hey, how's that coming, by the way? Huh? Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, we're, yep, right on that. Good. You always gotta chase this guy, make sure he's doing what he's supposed to. God. Time's Blur is definitely the most ambitious song on this album. Coming in at like 14, 15 minutes, it's basically the same sound. It's all instrumental, no lyrics whatsoever. It's very similar sonically throughout the whole song. I read a comment somewhere on a YouTube video that all the sounds and instruments and synths and stuff in Time's Blur is a collection of the sounds across the whole album. I'm not really sure if that's true. I did listen kind of back to see if I could decipher that or put that together. I didn't really come up with much, but who knows, it could be true. I mean, with Lord Huron, you never know. No 1 second of their songs are meaningless. My first listen through Time's Blur, I was a little disappointed because when I saw that there was going to be a 14, 15-minute song to end this album, I thought it was going to be like some epic like journey of a lyrical song, and what we got instead was this repeated sound with, you know, variations and such added to it throughout the whole 14 minutes. So the first time I was a little bit let down because I wasn't really expecting that. But the second time and third time and every time thereafter, I'm here for it. Like I said, it really does feel like this limbo interlude between the beginning and end of the album. So yeah, I mean, I don't really know what more to say about this project except bring on the next one. I mean, they're supposed to be coming out with a movie literally called Vide Noir from the third album. They were supposed to come out with that, I think, last year, and never happened, but news is it's kind of speeding up and it's in post-production and such, and I'm really excited for that. I mean, I told you, I'm a movie buff, and my favorite band making a movie. There's not much more I can ask for. So anyway, I appreciate you guys sticking around, watching this whole thing. I imagine this video is pretty long by now. But these guys are really my favorite band ever. I mean, I've barely scratched the surface of what I can really say about these guys as a whole, but my thoughts on Long Lost, I honestly think it's their best album yet. I think the use of interludes and the structural progression of the album lends to the storytelling, lends to this cinematic, atmospheric picture they're trying to paint you. And I just really love all the subtleties that make Lord Huron, Lord Huron. I mean, the connection between this and Alive from Whispering Pines, the fact that the album cover is a GIF on Apple Music, just amazing. I could sit here and talk forever, but gotta end this sometime, right? So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you like this album? Do you hate this album? Drop a like if you enjoyed. Consider subscribing if you think you'd be into more content. And until next time, guys, may you live until you die. Peace out.